So Shamima Begum has lost her appeal to stop the stripping of her British citizenship. The ruling from Judge Robert J of the Special Immigration Appeals Commission means that she can't return to the UK from her current home in a refugee camp in northern Syria. Shamima was 15 when IS groomed her to leave her East London home for Syria. This was in 2015. The group forced her to marry an IS fighter. She had 3 children who have all since died. In February 2019, her legal team said that the UK government left her stateless. This was after the then Home Secretary Sajid Javid revoked her British citizenship. He claimed this was on national security grounds after she was found in the Syrian refugee camp. This is objectively wrong. I know this will clearly divide opinion, but it is wrong. First off, to state the obvious, Shamima was a British citizen. She was born in this country, so how do we justify stripping her citizenship? National security? Well, surely it would be better for national security if she was here. She can be tried. She may even have information about IS. How would it serve us if she was sent elsewhere? Second thing, the legality of it. This sets a dangerous precedent. No one should have the power to render someone stateless or revoke a citizenship. The state should not have their hands on your passport regardless of your personal feelings on a particular person. When governments introduce more powerful measures, even if supposedly temporarily, they are always used again. We can't allow the justification for such things. Now, it may seem justified, but that's also subjective, right? A future government may decide something else is justified, and it's not on the grounds of national security, but on the grounds of authoritarianism. Maybe they don't like its citizens protesting. Over the last couple of years, the government has introduced legislation such as the Police Crime Courts and Sentencing Bill to crack down on those who exercise their freedom of speech to protest. Now, right-wingers who care so much about freedom don't really seem to be consistent on this issue. They care more about freedom when it comes to 15-minute cities, which to me is one of the wildest political discourses in politics. If you don't know what they are, Google it and then go on Twitter. The responses surrounding this issue is insane. Yet when a state massively overreaches on its power, there's silence from the political right. I'm going to make the moral case as well as the legal case. Begum was 15 years old when she was groomed, and yes, it was grooming. At the age of 15, you cannot consent. It's why we have laws on the age of consent. We've collectively decided as a society that those on the age of 16 or even 18 on some stuff should be protected. So when you've got adults approaching young people online, brainwashing them, then surely we should be, 1, looking at the conditions in which this is able to happen in a supposedly liberal democracy, and 2, how are we protecting young people online? Now, I drew parallels back then when the story initially came out, and will again today in regards to Greta Thunberg. To conservatives, Begum was adult enough to know what she was doing, therefore no compassion or at least some kind of in-depth thought surrounding the issue. Yet Greta, well, her age back then, she was too stupid to be listened to, or she was a puppet of the climate movement. Maybe some consistency here is needed. These policies are what happen under authoritarian governments, regardless of your personal feelings towards Begum. You can absolutely hate her. You can feel no sympathy for her, yet oppose this. It's entirely consistent. What isn't consistent is how this law has been applied. It seems another almost identical case has had a different response. Rhiannon Rudd was a victim of grooming by far-right terrorists. Ultimately, charges against her were dropped after it was believed that she was in fact a victim. Now, it's interesting that there seems to be a different outcome of the same instance where they were both 15 years old. The government is applying conditional citizenship. Rather, it should be a right of a person and not something that those in power can just play around with. In order to protect democracy, the rights of everyone, then sometimes, yes, sometimes it means defending those that you feel shouldn't be defended. Now, my personal opinion is that Begum was groomed. However, my view is entirely consistent. If the person was born in this country, who has the right to live here, does something truly terrible and the responsibility is on them and them alone, and the same thing happens, I would still call out the government authoritarianism.